Hello and welcome to my channel, Dan's the Engineer. I'm Dan Jackson. First day back at the gym today for the new year. I haven't been to the gym for, oh God, it's over a month now because I've been away and Christmas is sort of getting away, and yeah, I'm feeling it, really feeling it. So I get to the gym, I try and go 3 times a week, and I get to the gym at about 6:15 in the morning, and I sort of do my workout and then go to work after that. I'm quite fortunate that I can plan my days around it because I manage as such. I'm not always on site, but if I have to be, I have to be. So it works out quite well because it works better for me to go into the gym in the morning, and I really enjoy it. So this video is about, I wrote a blog post, an article on LinkedIn recently, and it was called Cocaine and Teamwork at the Construction Site. It got some negative comments and it got some quite positive comments. And obviously it's quite controversial, the title of it. So I just want to do a little video about that really and explain it in video so I can explain a little bit further. So I've decided to do a few blog posts of my career and a few events that have happened that are quite notable in my career that I feel have helped me, or in some way some haven't helped me, but you know, I try and take positives for any situation that I'm in. So this particular one was basically, and I'll start from the beginning. I was an apprentice. I was 19 years old. I was working for a company, and we worked all around the country doing all sorts of, it was mainly sort of retail commercial jobs. And I had a company van. They gave me a van and trusted me, which was great. And you know, at 19 years old, I was driving around in a massive transit van. I absolutely loved it. It was like a dream come true. So I was working on this job and I was asked to pair up with an electrician. Never met him before because I was relatively new to the company. So the plan was I had to pick him up in the morning, and then we had to go to site, and there was 4 of us working on this job. So I got to his, texted him the night before, got to his at 4:30 in the morning as agreed, and he wasn't anywhere to be seen. I was texting him, I was calling him, nowhere. I was knocking on his door, and eventually he got out to the van. He was like really late, and he was absolutely stinking of booze. And bear in mind, I've never met this guy before, never met him, never spoke to him before, only texted him the night before, literally never met him before. He got into my van and he was still pissed out of his face. So we're driving up the M1 and yeah, driving away. There wasn't really much talk going on, which I like to, you know, get to know people and chat a lot. And yeah, he started snorting cocaine off my dashboard. And I was like, mate, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing that for? And he like, you know, it was a bit frosty sort of thing, and we didn't really sort of speak much on the way there. I was just like, what on earth are you doing? And that was the first time I come in contact with cocaine. I've never seen it before. And yeah, it just started, I was like, what on earth is going on? Like, what is this guy? So, you know, not a great start. So got to this job. It was the first day of the job, and he was like, he was off his face. So, you know, we decided he can't come in. He can't come on site like that. That's just ridiculous. So there was 2 other lads. So basically I grabbed the site folder with the drawings and everything, and, you know, the specification, and we just sort of done our own thing, and we said, stay in the van. Even though this guy was our supervisor, he was running the job, he was supposed to be in charge of all of us, it was his job. So he just sort of had a kip in the van literally all day. And like, I, you know, said, I'll do this, you do that, and the other person can go do that area. And we just kind of got on with it. And it was like one of the first times I had to step up to responsibility and understand a bit more about supervising and stuff like that. And the cheeky bastard, like, honestly, the cheeky bastard, when he woke up and got out and we started doing things, he started criticising me for, you know, saying, why did you use trunk in there? I would have used conduit. Like, it didn't matter. It wasn't like on the specification. It was just like personal preference. I thought, you cheeky wanker. So anyway, that was that. So yeah, I mean, the job was quite horrendous. It was so high pressured. And what I didn't actually say in a blog post about this guy, and I explained this first, the following week when I picked him up, he got in a van like normal. He was on time this time. He'd just been beaten up. He'd been on the night out the night before, and he had 2 black eyes, bruises all over his face, and he cracked a couple of ribs. Like, honestly, you can't make this up. And the following week after that, I was waiting outside his. I think he was a little bit late like usual, but I'm just sitting there, just like, you know, I can't even remember. I was like reading a paper or something like that. And some random bloke gets in the van. And I'm like, who are you, mate? And he said, oh, I'm Lee. I'm so-and-so's cousin. I'm like, what are you doing in my van? And then in gets so-and-so. And he said, oh, this is my cousin. He stayed over mine last night. He lives around the corner. We're going to drop him off. I'm like, what on earth is going on? I've never met such a piss taker in my life. But there we go. That's him. So this job, it was, it didn't go well. We worked a lot of hours. There was a lot of poor communication, a lot of poor management. And this one particular day, we were getting home on Fridays, like seriously late, like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And it was, you like to have a weekend, even though I was working at the weekend anyway, but you like to get home and say, right, I'm home. You know, I don't think that's hard to ask considering the amount of hours that we've done in a week. So we agreed to work really late on a Thursday to get everything done so we could go home like at a reasonable time on a Friday, i.e. before 4 o'clock. And we worked from 6:30 a.m. in the morning till 2 in the morning the next day. We had a couple of breaks in between, but I mean, that is a seriously long day. It was hard work. And it was all to make sure things were done for the weekend and stuff like that. So done all that, absolutely knackered. Got on site on the Friday, the following day. And it was just basically a bit of tidying up, a bit of this, a bit of that. And the supervisor turned around to us and said, oh, I've messed up the drawings on a particular area and they're installing bay doors. Tomorrow, or like at the weekend, obviously we weren't going to be there. So he said, we've got to stay today. We've got to move them. We've got loads of work to do. And I actually turned around and said, well, that's your fucking problem then. And literally got in a van and went home at a sensible time. I think it was like 1 o'clock, something like that. And I had the right hump. And the two other blokes, they followed me as well. They got in their van and they come home as well. And we left him there at the weekend and he had to work himself. And I thought to myself, was that the right thing to do? Like, we're supposed to be a team. Like, we're supposed to help out. And like, he sort of messed up. And it really sort of questioned my ability to be a team member. But then when I thought about it more, I thought, why should I have to carry somebody because they're not competent at their job? He was supposed to be supervising. Half the time he was in the van asleep, because the whole time we was working out, he was out every single night on the piss. Like, why should I have to compensate for his shortcomings? Like, that's not my problem at the end of the day. So I've actually thought, do you know what, stuff you. Like, we go home, we're going to have our weekend, even though I was working at the weekend anyway. And I just wanted to be home, like with my friends. I had plans at the weekend. So just left him to it. I thought that was the right decision. And he just made really poor things and judgments about managing us and supervising us. It was a really, really poor organised job. And what I know now, like, because I supervise jobs and I oversee jobs, I know that I can manage that job in such a way that it would be a very nice job for the guys. But it was like hell at the time. We all absolutely hated it. It was 5 weeks, I think. I think it went over a little bit of absolute hell, like dreading to go to work because we're just dealing with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, being told to do something 3 times. And you know what it's like as an electrician. If you have to redo something, it's a bit soul destroying because you put your heart and effort into doing something once. If you have to do it again, the percentage of your heart and effort that goes into it decreases. If you do it again, it decreases more and you don't get the best outcome that you could possibly get. But, you know, it's just one of those things. But this whole scenario was a big life lesson for me in terms of supervising, teamwork and things like that. And I took everything I learned from that and I used that in what I done in the future. And, you know, it's still in what I do now, is that we are all team members, but I've always been quite ruthless with people in my team. If they're not pulling their weight, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. I'm not here to carry dead weight. I mean, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, so we can put people where their strengths and weaknesses are. And that's great. Like, we can't all be exactly the same ability, but when someone isn't pulling their weight where they should be because of drugs, drink, or they're just lazy, then I haven't got time for that. You know, teamwork is very important to me. I own my company. I have quite a lot of people working for me, but the way I see it is that we're all part of the team. We're all colleagues. Like, it's not like you work for me, you do this. It's we all have our roles, and we pull together as a team, and we've got to complete jobs as a team, and everyone has a vital part to do in that teamwork. So that's what it taught me. And also, that sort of scenario taught me, I mean, it was the first time I come across that, drugs in that situation. I'm very anti-drugs. I'm anti-smoking, I'm anti-drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I don't look down on anybody who does that. That's fine. What you want to do is down to you. It's your choice. But I personally am very anti-drugs. I think it's very easy to get into using drugs recreationally. It's quite a normal thing, I think, in society these days. But at the end of the day, we're installing life safety systems and systems that can burn down and give people electric shock. And taking drugs and using alcohol whilst at work, it can affect the level of safety, and you can affect everybody around you. Anybody who's doing that, you can affect everybody around you and affect their health and safety as well, including the systems that we're installing. And I just I don't have time for it. And it's also people who drink the night before and think that they've got no alcohol in their system. You drive a vehicle, like, that is incredibly dangerous. You can be operating tools and stuff when you're on site. That is dangerous. And on that particular site we worked at, I know that this isn't sort of drug and alcohol related, but because we worked so late in the night, on that horrendous 2 a.m. finish, well, a couple of the guys, they wired ring circuits in 1.5 and they messed up lighting circuits. And normally I'd be having a right go at someone, but it was like, forget about it. That's absolutely fine. But that's fatigue. And that's without using drugs and alcohol. And I'm sure people who have been under the influence have done similar sort of things. So, I'm very anti that. And I think that what is important to tell youngsters who are coming into the industry is that they need guidance. And you've got to understand that what you do outside of work can affect what you do at work. And you have to have that balance. You can have your fun, you can do whatever you want to do outside of work, but when it starts affecting your work, that's when it's a problem and it needs to be addressed. So I think, there needs to be guidance. I'm also I know a few people who've been banned on sites before where they've had random drug and alcohol tests, and they've come through as being positive for having drugs and alcohol in their body, and they've been kicked off sites and they've been banned and they've been sacked, and they've ended up having to get jobs outside of the construction industry. I endorse that. Companies who do that, I think that is great, because it makes a safer work environment for everybody and safer systems that they're installing. So yeah. And as for the guy who was our supervisor, I worked with him a few times after that, and we just didn't click. You just don't click with someone. Didn't see eye to eye. It's the usual thing that I was doing a lot of work and he was just lazing around doing nothing, reading the paper. I mean, whatever, I didn't mind, was getting paid. But I just think, it was a poor show on his part. And as for what, obviously he had a problem. He had a problem with drugs and alcohol. It's a clear problem. And I do feel sorry for him at the end of the day. But I can't let it affect me in what he's doing. And he didn't end up working for the company that long. He actually quit after that. And I heard that he registered as a domestic installer and was working locally in people's houses. And this is a story. I don't know if this is true. In a way, I kind of hope it does. It is, because it was funny. I heard, bear in mind, he don't drive, and that's why I was driving a van. But I heard that he turns up to people's houses, working in houses, on a push bike. So he turns up to Mrs. Jones' house, knocks on the door. It's like, I'm here to install, I'm here to rewire your house. And he's on a push bike. Can you imagine that? Like, he's probably got one of those rucksack tool bags, and he's balancing a length of conduit on his bike. Can you imagine that? I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, what's his company called? Professional Limited. My God. Can you imagine that? I hope it's true. Anyway. But anyway, that's what the blog post was about. It's about raising awareness about, drugs in the workplace. It is a problem. It needs to be addressed. And that's what the whole thing was about, really. So obviously some people were quite negative and posted negative comments on the blog post. And I don't think they even read it, because they just basically said, oh, well done for promoting cocaine. It's like, I'm not. I mean, it's about talking about the elephant in the room at the end of the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just a quick little chatty one. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.